Hi, I hope this finds you well today. In our Healing with Love class this month, we've been talking about friendship and love. And one of the concepts in the Real Love books by Dr. Greg Bear is the concept of wise women or wise men. And that is simply people that you find, friendships that you cultivate, people that you may already know that may have the ability to be honest with you. So, for instance, let me give you an example. If I were to have a difficult conversation with my spouse and I was really frustrated and really needed to talk to someone, and I called a friend and I said, I just had this really difficult conversation with my spouse and I'm really trying to figure it out and I'm just so upset. If that friend were to say to me, oh, yeah, men are just jerks, or it must be his fault because you've never done anything wrong and you're always so sweet, then I would know this person is not very honest, right? And she is really into blame. And she's really thinking that her job is to make me feel better. But what I really, really need in those moments is for someone to love me, not because I'm perfect or because I never, because I'm always sweet or, whatever those fallacies are, but because I'm human. And even when I'm upset about something, and even when I'm not handling it well, I need someone who can see me doing those things and love me anyway. And not only that, but kind of give me some feedback, like hold up a little bit of a mirror to me so that I can see myself, so that I can see that it's not doing me a lot of good to be angry and frustrated. What's underneath it? How are you feeling? What was the conversation about really? So I just wanted to share a couple of the points that we've been talking about when it comes to friends. And how do you find these people? How do you find these honest, loving people? Well, here are a couple of the points that we discussed, okay? Number one, pay attention to the people that you meet. Where do you go on any given day? Are you at the school? Are you at the library? Are you at church? Are you at a gym? And who is there? Are you at the store? Who's there? Do you run across people who are kind of in your same orbit? And can you recognize what level of honesty, self-honesty these people have? Just something to pay attention to. Another thought. We can pray for guidance and discernment. When we're talking to someone, we've met someone new, or maybe someone's an old friend, and we kind of want to know, is this person someone that could be a wise woman to me? And could I be a wise woman for her? And we kind of, it's a little bit risky, but we can pray for the discernment to recognize those people. And I think it's really interesting when that happens. I hope you've had this experience. I have, when I meet someone or I see someone that I haven't seen in a long time, or I just see someone that I already know with fresh eyes, with a new perspective. And it's like this click. Like I think, oh, this person gets me and I get them. And they're honest and they're not gossipy and they tell the truth, but they're kind. Kind of a light bulb comes on, like, oh, this is what kind of person this is. Sometimes it's just when you meet them, you have that sense, you have that feeling about them. So there's one thing to consider. Pray for guidance and discernment as you are looking for these people in your life. Okay. Another thing, we want to look for people who are generally happy people. Okay, not people that are in a great deal of drama, that are feeding drama in their lives, that maybe aren't seeing things very clearly, and only probably because they haven't had a very accurate mirror throughout their lives and they haven't felt really loved. So even though none of us are living this totally no stress existence, still, you know the difference between people who are generally happy, generally dealing with life, right? We all have our ups and downs, but generally they're pretty even-keeled folk, okay? Another thing, we can work on being ourselves. And by that, I just mean instead of working really hard to be impressive, to get someone to like us, or to prove to someone that we're outstanding, we can just be ourselves. And while we are being ourselves, other people can recognize the wise woman that's in us. They can say, oh, there's a girl who tells the truth, and there's a girl who accepts herself, and there's a girl who is generally happy. We want to be that kind of attractive. And attractive means when someone sees us, they can recognize who we are. They can recognize kind of the good vibe, right? The good vibe they get. But this is someone that they could trust. Okay. All right. And the last idea is that we can take small risks to discover the wise people around us. Here's an example. Like in the example that I used before, say I've had a difficult experience, I might just kind of test the water a little bit. I might tell someone, I had this challenging moment today. And then we might tell the truth, not go on the rampage about our spouse's, all the negative things. We could say, I had this difficult conversation and I didn't handle it very well. I said things that I wish I hadn't said. And then I recognized later that my anger didn't help things. And then I decided to apologize. Taking a little risk like that in sharing a moment, a really honest moment with someone, will give us a lot of information by the way that they respond to our honesty. If they respond with, oh, you'd never do that. I'm sure you were fine. I'm sure you were right. He's just blah, blah, blah. This is not an honest person. And if that's the response, we can just say to ourselves, don't think she's ready. And that's okay. We can talk about what's on sale at the grocery store, or we could talk about the weather, or we can talk about the carpool or whatever. That's okay. That's where she is. But what I've learned in that moment is this is probably not someone who's going to be giving me really clear and honest feedback. Now, if I say what I said and had this honest, little, like I'm not telling her my entire life. I'm not telling her everything I've ever done wrong. I'm just telling her just this little snippet. And if I tell her that, And she responds with honesty and kindness. Oh, wow. That's really amazing that you could see yourself in that moment. And that's really amazing that you apologized. That's awesome. Then I can say to myself, ah, there is a person who is ready to be honest. And not only is she ready to be honest, but she has some skill with it. You know, she can be kind and honest at the same time. So I hope that these ideas are helpful for you as you are cultivating relationships that will support you in your growth and also support the people that you love with your own honesty and your own wisdom and your own loving people in the middle of their challenges, in the middle of them being human. This is really one of the greatest gifts that we can give each other, isn't it? And the whole overarching point for cultivating relationships like this with wise women and wise men and becoming a wise woman or a wise man is to help us to feel unconditionally loved, to be seen, to be heard, to be accepted, and to be loved at the same time. Like we didn't have to prove something, we didn't have to earn something. We just are loved. Because when we're in that state, and when we're in that state more and more often, then we become incredibly loving people. And we become really the people that we want as parents for our children, right? We want our kids to be raised by people who are solidly in love, who feel loved, and who are loving and who are responsible. And when we feel like that more and more often, then we can really teach our children to become that, right? To become loving, to be loving, to feel loved, and to be responsible for themselves. So wherever you are in this process, whether you have 20 friends like this, or you have one, or you really can't think of one, I hope you'll use these ideas to recognize the people that are around you already that could be wise women or men for you, and then cultivate relationships with those people or discover those people and then become the wise woman that you can be for your friends. This is really, really crucial. I know that you might be thinking, but I don't have time for this. But I don't have time to do stuff with people. But I don't have time to call somebody when I'm in the thick of something and I need some feedback and I need honesty and I need clarity and I need to be able to see myself as I am. But I think the thing that is more true is that we can't afford not to do this. We can't afford not to have friendships like this because our children really need us to evolve. They need us to grow up. They need us to feel loved. They need us to be responsible. So whatever is on the to-do list, I want to suggest that this idea of cultivating these kinds of relationships has got to go to the top. And it's really cool because it's fun. It's fun too. So here's a little question in closing. Are there ways that you can see that you might dovetail friend building and the stuff that's already on your to-do list? Is there some way that you could dovetail them or help them to fit together, that you could do them at the same time? For instance, I have had friends over the years that we spent time talking and visiting and connecting with each other while we were doing something that needed to be done, like we were weeding in one of our yards, or we were doing laundry, hanging it out on the line, or we were ironing, or we were sewing, or we were creating something. Maybe we were making flower arrangements, or maybe we were putting peaches in bottles or fruit or vegetables in the freezer. Consider the ways that you could put these two things together, the things that are on your to-do list that you feel are really important, and cultivating loving, wise friendships in your life that will build you and help you to feel more loved more often. Okay? There's a challenge for you. We're all about this. We're all about the love that we each need in our lives. It's the crucial element. It's the thing that we all need. And it's the thing that when we have it, everything can be right. Even in crazy times, even in difficult circumstances, we can be right. We can feel good. We can feel peaceful when we feel loved, no matter what's going on around us. So really, really a critical need. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you'll take me up on this challenge, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.